I know most times when I am doing most times when I'm online or whatever, I tend to not say what I really am thinking. People that know me personally, I'll say this. People that know me personally or that have known me, met me along the way in real life, you know I'm a live wire. You know I say whatever I'm thinking. And most times, you know, I usually be right. As I got older, I'm not always right. So I've had to um humble myself into knowing that I'm not always right. But my heart is always in the right place. My mind is a very solid thinking one, I'm a very logical thinker. So I have my opinions and my beliefs, and I'm open to changing them. But whatever argument or whatever information you're presenting me, um, it has to make sense, and it has to be able to defeat my current ideology, um, which I whatever my ideology is on any type of subject, it's been carefully curated. I've done a lot of research. I've read a lot. I've watched a lot. I've taken a lot of information from all sides before I formulate my own idea. And then I also don't I don't downplay or disrespect or you know uh try to come at anybody else for their own beliefs, unless it's just totally stupid, right? Unless it's just, I ain't got no choice, right? But nonetheless, um, a lot of stuff like this, I tend to not talk about it because, um, I'm a new channel. I'm not really out there publicly too tough, so people are always saying, "Man, you can't say that. You gotta." And I don't want to say nothing that's gonna get me banned, but at the same time, though, I gotta be me. I have to talk my truth. You know what I'm saying? So I'm saying that to say that to people who are watching this and that don't know me, that have never met me in real life or expected me because my last name is Love, that I'm some soft, sweet heart type of dude. I'm far from that. If anything, if it's gonna be Cupid, or if anything, any one of your Euros, I'm answerless. All right. So who Answerus is? All right. So I'll tell you a quick little story if you don't know how it goes. In Greek mythology, you got Aphrodite, the goddess of love, and whenever you would see her, she would have these 7 little babies around, flying babies. Those babies are called Eros, and each one of them represent a different facet of love, right? So Cupid, which you all know, or Euros, um, just means overall general love for everything, everybody, whatever. But Anteros, who is I'm more akin to, um, is the small god of unrequited love. So it's more so like love everybody and everything, but if that love is not given back, then there is room, there is a necessity to um retaliate or to make it. You know what I mean? So it's not so nice, right? It's like you either gonna show love properly or else, you know. So yeah. With that being said, um, I think it's been really crazy. Um, I think it's really crazy what's been going on lately. Now, I am a Chicago-born, Atlanta raised individual. I'm I'm in my mid, early 40s, right? 41. And I just want to kind of point out, like, I'm from Atlanta, man. Like I said, I grew up here, so maybe my ideas on things are a little bit different than in the rest of the country. I grew up around nothing but black people. Um, Obviously, um, Atlanta is the beacon or the home ground for the civil rights movement, um, Martin Luther King, and a lot of other stuff. And so we grew up with racism and stuff like that, and just knowing it is what it is, and not caring, right? So it takes a like at the basis, I kind of feel like, and I could be wrong about it, but I think naturally, just because of the way society is or how, where we are in this time in life or in time of human history, um, we tend to we tend to mm, uh okay. I think I kind of just lost my track of thought. I was finna say something dope. But but I think where we are right now in this certain space in human history, people tend to you know we're really sensitive. Um, there's a lot of things that offend people, and they go all up in arms, and we're just in a really weird space. That wasn't what I was trying to say, but I just gotta keep it going. Nonetheless, I think the roughest it's rough to okay. Anyway, so I'm saying that to say I don't really care about people being racist. You know what I'm saying? I get it. You know what I mean? It's easy for them to be racist. Like if you were born white, and learn that you have a certain standing in society just by default. Um, you almost can't help but you know live that path, right? Or acknowledge that, or take advantage of that that's given to you. But being black from Atlanta, we've had money. We weren't struggling or nothing like that. We weren't rich, but we also, I mean, I got everything I wanted for Christmas. So it was just like, you know, I don't care nothing about that. If I see a Confederate flag, I know what it is. If I see a skinhead or he bald and he got on a vest or he ain't got no shirt on, he got on like I just know a racist when I see him, and I keep my distance. Or not, but for the most part, I know what he is, and it doesn't matter. It don't bother me. I've never been called nigga to my face or nothing like that. No white man has ever just disrespected me like that. I'm saying all that to say, you know, maybe my point of view or the way I see things is a little bit different. But I wanted to say that because one, this is the internet, so it's gonna be up, and I wanted people to know where I'm coming from. So whether you watching this video today or you're in the future, you're watching this and you're seeing where my mindset is, and this pops up, at least you know where I stand and my point of view of things. So at least the beginning of my point of view of things. So I'm saying all that to say, um, yeah, I voted for Trump. Um, it's the first time I ever voted Republican, or conservatively. Last go round, I voted um independently. The time before that, and it was some lady, I don't even remember her name. Um, and then the time before that, I voted for Barack twice. Um, I voted for Clinton. I mean, I've always voted democratically, and that's just by default, right? My family is Democrats, but those Democrats aren't the same ones now that they were then. And like I said, I do a lot of research. I do a lot of paying attention, a lot of studying, and it's just why if you've been talking to me ever in life, how far ahead of thinking or how knowledgeable about certain things I am. I am. Am I saying it right? Anyway, um, and I'll say this, a big part of the reason why I was hesitant into getting back into doing comedy and acting and stuff, living in Hollywood and all that, was because of all the crazy stuff, like the Epstein files and all that conspiracy theory stuff that was dropping. It was just like, damn. I remember when I first moved to LA. Um, yeah, and I got into. I was in my room. I had a roommate, and he had friends because he's from LA already, right? So he had friends growing up, and they super cool. I love them to death. Um, and one of the first things one of them said to me, because they asked me who I was and what I was doing and why did I move to LA. And I told him, I was like, yeah, I'm a comedian, I'm an actor, and all that stuff. And he was like, damn, man, you came out here for that? So you came all the way out here just to get in your. I was like, hold on, what? What? And he was so jarring when he said it. Like I just kind of chuckled it, like, nigga, hell, man, get your head off. What? But didn't think nothing of it. I mean, I'd already moved out there. I was, I had a lot, so But that was many years ago. So in 2020, when COVID hit, I was in LA, and I was forced to move back to Atlanta because I was working for a company, but they ended up shutting down for excuse me. I was working for a musical instrument company, and yeah, the city shut down. Trains and all that stuff. I couldn't get around. I didn't have a car, so I had to come back to Atlanta. When I came back to Atlanta, and everyone was like in this Corona mode, I was just engulfed in learning stuff. I spent most of that like practicing meditation and really getting back a hold of myself around and fell in love with somebody I shouldn't have. Nonetheless. In that though, that's when the Epstein files and all that shit hit the fan, and you started seeing the list of everybody who was in it and all this stuff, and then you start hearing about all the. See, if I say some of these words, I don't think YouTube is going to allow me to keep this video up. So I'm not going to say that, but just know I started doing stand up comedy. Well, I was doing stand up comedy too, and I would talk about some of this stuff, and you could just see the room, and they had no idea what I'm talking about. Like, I think now they might have caught up on it, but they did not know what I was talking about. It was kind of alarming, but I'm saying all that to say, I love LA. That's my third city. It's the place that I chose to move to as an adult, and for me to see this happening is crazy because I do plan on moving back. My fiance's from San Jose. We're in Atlanta. She's been away from her family for a little bit, so she wants to get back. And I want to go back to LA. Like I said, I got here to Atlanta, but I didn't really want to move back. I was forced to move back. So ever since then, it's been a plan for me to go back, and get back on my feet, get balanced back, and then go back. And I've done just that. But looking at stuff like this, man, well, for one, the industry has dissipated, right? Filming and all that stuff. They do that here in Atlanta. If I was to do something in LA, they'll easily be like, all right, well, production's in Atlanta, so you fly home, da da da. Like, it's crazy. But anyway, to see this though, makes it another reason why it's hard for me to even like be excited about moving back to LA, because this is crazy. It's so beautiful there, but the government, I cannot stand the government. I can't stand the government there, shall I say. I think it's very crazy. So I'm just now, in a spot where a lot of stuff that I believe, a lot of stuff that I'm doing, a lot of stuff that I, probably support, might ruffle some feathers, right? Like even with my sister, and and I love you, and with my mom and dad too. I told them who I voted for, and if I was to say it right now, like immediately, we would have some issues. It like they'll start yelling, and my dad thinks I'm crazy, you know what I mean? And my other sister's being affected by it, but that's a whole nother thing. I need to talk to her, because So it's a very touchy idea, and I tend to not mention it, except for the people that I really care about, or that are close to me. If you ask me, I'll never hesitate to tell you. But it is something that I don't really speak about too much. I felt a necessity to say something about it today, though, just so that whatever comes out of my mouth from now on, at least you have a base point of why I think the way I do, or why I say the things that I say. Yeah, and anything that I say, it's not to downsize or downgrade or downplay, shall I say, whatever it is you believe or whatever you think. Your thoughts are your thoughts. Your experiences are your own. I just know I have my own. I got my own point of view, and I don't hesitate to express them. So and there's no problem until you try to, on my ideas or whatever. You try to, like, we can have a conversation and we can debate and we can exchange ideologies and go from there. But you ain't finna attack me verbally. You're not finna just come at me. Like, I've noticed anytime I have these types of conversations politically or whatever, it gets to a point where they don't even argue points anymore. They just start saying, "Oh man, you crazy. Oh man, you stupid. Like, how could you even think that?" So it downgrades to, or devolves to name calling or just being disrespectful and no longer about the points. And that'll, and that right there is how you know you win arguments, right? When they're no longer talking about the facts and they're literally um, just spewing to you how they feel, you know, whatever. I don't rock with emotions like that. Um, yeah, I don't rock with emotions like that. So anyway, long story short, I know that was a lot, and I thank you for listening. Um, what I am about to do now is go through some of this stuff, man. Especially what's been going on. Like I love LA, man, and to see what's going on out there is crazy to me. I don't see how anybody supports this. I don't see how anybody supports this. Let's take a look.
President calling in the National Guard without direct request from a state's governor is extremely rare. KPRC2's Mario Diaz is live downtown with more on that approach. Mario.
And it is approach, Lisa, that it is
It's his
legal,
mouth.
and that's an important issue to bring up here, that it is legal to take this step. Keep in mind, the governors of most states have control of the National Guard, which is why you see the name Texas National Guard, California National Guard, right? Because it's part of that state. The governor does control it, but the complete and total control, well, that lies in Washington, D.C., which allows the federal government to actually say, hey, we want to send in the National Guard if they feel the civil unrest is too much or the safety risk too great to the public, or that the local authorities simply cannot handle it.
Local police, the local sheriffs, they're really the first line in defending buildings, defending property.
But in Los Angeles,
Look, like, that don't even look like America, bro. And I didn't see no American flags. I seen Mexican flags.
President Donald Trump felt there was no more defense. So he took a rare but So he took a rare but legal step of sending in the National Guard
Right.
for law and order.
All right.
A step that President Lyndon B. Johnson of Texas took in 1965 during the 5-day Selma March. Only he did it for the defense of civil rights. Two presidents, two different political parties, same rare approach.
It is certainly unique in a historical context, but we also don't know what those communications were or how they may have broken down.
Ryan Patrick was the U.S. attorney based in Houston during the peaceful George Floyd March 5 years ago. It was a massive demonstration that Patrick recalls well.
I was in constant communication with our major and even smaller city police chiefs, sheriffs, the state police, our National Guard. We were in all. We
I gotta
were
fix that
communicating
mouth.
the entire time to make sure that there were not these holes that could create other problems.
But when problems do escalate to a certain point, the calling for the National Guard brings with it an additional layer that makes a situation like the one in LA even more complex.
It is a
Man, you
It's
tripping.
time for lefties losing it, and the Democrats and their radical, violent wing are reminding the world tonight why Donald Trump won the election in a landslide, winning every swing state, the popular vote, and the all-important electoral college.
And I say that right now. I don't care what news source you are watching right now that is all saying like this is crazy and other, like, in defense of these illegals. I don't care about that's crazy. There is no reason why this should be allowed. Burning stuff in the middle of the city, in the middle of the street, like it. Yeah,
With a massive margin of 312.
the majority of people agree with this. At least half. And I know it's more than that. I'm so sure that there's more than just half of the people that voted for Trump that support this. There's no reason why y'all should let this city go out like this.
206 votes. And the heart of Trump's America.
The popular opinion is to get these illegal people out of here.
Deporting the millions who flooded in illegally in recent years. And you will not find a better ad for that policy than the scenes in LA right now.
Downtown. Yeah, see that? I wish I would be. What? Well, I wish I would. I wish I'd be driving through the city like that and some random foreign whoever throw some shit at my car like that. Are you kidding me? Buddy tripping.
For lefties losing it, and
I'm definitely gonna have to restart this.
The National Guard will restore order.
This nigga's throwing stuff at people's car. I've seen this picture so many times. This dude right here has an iconic photo going around right now, viral photo, and I call it iconic. Iconic isn't always, it just means it was able to become an icon of a circumstance or a symbol of something. And this right here is indicative of that. Look at this. I've seen so many posts of this, and it's a dope photo. Don't get me wrong, the shit look fire. You know what I'm saying? He got fire behind him, he got his little Mexican flag standing up on top of it. Like the end of the first Joker movie. But tell me, why does this look like Mexico and why the hell this is in LA? They allowed this to happen. Governor Newsom allowed this to happen.
Yes.
Mayor Bass allowed this to happen. To the point that now we ended up having to get Trump to get the National Guard to come out there to cease this. It should have never happened to this point.
The lawless thugs are demonstrating precisely why they should be deported and why those who break the law to support them should be locked up. As the National Guard is called in to restore order, the fires continue to burn. Some of these fires have been burning for so long that the cars are almost gone. Look at that. But authorities, the National Guard will restore order as these rioters found out. Some of these rioters found out.
And see, some of them think it's funny. They think it's a game. Yeah. Pull the tool out. Now, if y'all thinking that it's just them that feels like, or you think it's a small group of people who feel like this, I'm gonna pull this up. And this dude is obviously a Mexican American from LA.
So let me get this straight, just so I can clarify it. You don't want to go back to Mexico. You're protesting to stay away from Mexico. But you're waving the Mexican flag and you're waving it with pride. You're waving it in the United States, country you're trying to stay in.
That you're trying to stay in.
But yet you're waving the Mexican flag with pride. Okay. That seems normal to you? That seems logical? That's not stupid at all? None of that's stupid. All right. You guys are an embarrassment to the Mexican culture and to the United States culture. You guys are an embarrassment to everybody around you.
Thank you, bro. Thank you, bro, for saying that. Because absolutely, it's totally embarrassing. It's totally ridiculous. And anybody that supports that or that actually actively helps them, they should be arrested. And if they're not illegal, if they're not legally citizens, then they should be deported as well. They need to get out. And even if you are a citizen, but you don't like it so much to the point where you're helping this type of stuff and you're just being totally disrespectful, I think you should go too. Like, why would you want to be somewhere where you don't like it or where you're not wanted? Go to Asia. Go to Europe. I'm sure you would love to talk the shit that you talk in England, where they're arresting y'all for the stuff that we can say freely online. Go there. See, I think a lot of y'all, a lot of people are even forgetting the fact that you're in a country that allows you to talk like that, and they're not coming to snatch you up. You know what I'm saying? That alone makes us the greatest country. It's the reason why everyone keeps trying to come here. But if you come here, you have to do it legally. You have to go. Like, I can't imagine, as much as I love Japan, shout out to Tokyo, and as much as I love Italy, shout out Venice. I had to throw them plugs in there because I'm going back. You think, let me ask you, what do you think? If I was to go to Japan right now and just sit in that thing longer, despite all the checks that when I first go in through immigration, and they ask you, how long are you going to be here? What are you going to be here for? You're asking you very specific questions. And you do have a limit. You can't just be there. But let's just say I was so enamored with Tokyo, I never wanted to leave. You think I get rights? If I wanted to try to apply for certain things or jobs, and they try to fit and they learn that I'm an American or that I'm not Japanese, I don't even have to be American. When they learn that I'm not Japanese, what do you think is going to happen? You think I'm going to have to do paperwork and apply, come back to America, wait the process out, do all that stuff, and then get cleared to be able to move there? Or do you think I could just be there? Start getting a job, doing whatever the hell I want to do, just start saying arigato gozaimasu to everything, doing whatever I want to do, going anywhere I want to go? Think I'll be able to be in the Japanese government? Imagine me wanting to run or be in the Japanese government and being a senator or whatever they got over there. You think that's possible? Do you think it's easy? I don't know. It just don't make no sense to me, man. And it's disheartening. You know? Hey, you see this? Look at this. What does it say? TikTok pays 600 for 1 million views. YouTube pays 5 stacks. See, that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm on YouTube, baby. That's why I'm on YouTube, baby. Until that. Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. Anyway, I'm not gonna dwell on this too long, man. I just think it's very crazy that all this is happening. You got people supporting these, telling people to fight back, to fight harder. Like, what? All right, lock them up, shoot their ass, whatever you got to do. Get them the hell on. Come on, bruh. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Anybody who thinks that this is Trump's fault definitely has TDS, and you're an idiot. Okay? Y'all, you have got to stop listening to the mainstream media or wherever you've been getting your main news from and look at it from multiple sides. Go to groundnews.com. You know, download the app or something like that. I'm not sponsored by them, but that's a great way to get balanced information. You know, No, this is a byproduct of what you allow to have. Like, if you let your kid mess up the room and you don't do nothing about it, watch that room turn into the living room and all the other rooms in the house until your whole house is messed up. Give them an inch, they'll take a foot. I don't know who thinks this is okay. I don't know who thinks this is okay. And if you do, please get out the country. Go with them. Seriously.